6ix9ine decided to snitch, and there are multiple things wrong with that and many consequences that are bound to come. You can expect the worst to come his way. Number 4. His image is shattered.
Seeing information as well as additional crimes that the defendant has told the government about.
In the world of rap, there are 3 kinds of rappers you can usually feel out by the way they act and in their songs and how they sing. There are those who are solely for the music and expression. Then there are those who came up from a rough life and went into the music to try and escape it. And then there are those who use music to try and gain fame and an image that'll carry them far. For Tekashi 6ix9ine, he was definitely in that 3rd category. Sure, he had somewhat of a hard upbringing, but most of that was on him.
I felt like my pops was a superhero, like, you know what I'm saying? I felt like my pops was invincible. So when they took my pops from me.
So when he started to realize he wanted to get into the rap music, he started doing a lot of dumb things in order to build up his cred on the streets. Ironically, these events would lead him to getting arrested and charged with various crimes. But one thing that 6ix9ine liked to do more than anything else was to blast out about how tough he was and his image and how he was straight up gangsta, stuff like that. He even proclaimed himself to be the king of New York, which upset a lot of rappers when he started throwing that moniker around.
To be the king of New York. Matter of fact, tag 50 too. Tell 50 that this is the real king of New York. This is the vibes.
As if that wasn't enough, he started to alter his body in terms of hair color, tattoo, jewelry, and more.
Shit.
There we go.
Doing, right? Here's some of the background, Nick. Just so you boys know.
I walk, you heard?
You ain't got to talk no more. He do the talking for you.
He do the talking for me.
Jigsaw. Holla at him.
All to fit that image of how tough he was. And this applied to his music and music videos, where he would act out being tough in situations or using firearms to solve his problems and all that. The problem is that because he took a plea deal, that image is completely gone, shattered, ruined. It's not coming back.
The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, Homeland Security Investigations, and other law enforcement agencies.
But hey, you saw what's wrong with wanting to take a deal to get a lesser sentence. I heard he was facing the possibility of life in jail, and yeah, you're right. You do have a point. Life in prison is no joke. However, prison time in the rap culture is viewed in a different way than other parts of the culture. Because if you claim to be tough and you get time, you're supposed to take it. Granted, you can fight to get out of it, and 6ix9ine did and has done in the past, but once the sentence comes down, you're supposed to be a man and do your time. Even if that time is life. By accepting the plea deal, regardless of how much time he got knocked off the punishment, 6ix9ine has proven that he is not about that life, like the one he claimed to be in. Ironically enough, many people in the rap world actually question 6ix9ine's toughness nearly from the get-go anyway. He might have acted hood and dressed and talked like it, but most of that was just a front. In a way, it was already proven before the plea deal even happened, because the moment he was put in jail, he tried to get out of general population because he was afraid of what was going to happen to him inside the joint. And then he was put in an area with non-violent offenders. That doesn't really sound like something of a tough rapper would do, unless he was very afraid of nearly everyone around him. For 6ix9ine, his image was a big part of who he was. He walked and talked and played big, but the moment he went to jail, the mirror image shattered. And he showed that he'll just do about anything to get a lesser sentence, which is another problem he now faces. Number 3. Snitches get stitches.
You are a rat. You're a rodent. I don't respect you in no type way.
6ix9ine long proclaimed that he was a part of a group called the 9 Treys. That was part of the reason why he was arrested, because the FBI caught him with the illegal firearms and substances and planning to sell them in order to build up a criminal empire.
That made me rebel, you know what I'm saying? That made me angry. I don't want to be a superhero. I want to be like, I want to be a villain.
For, if you're not aware, that's called racketeering, and it's very illegal. Anyway, he's saying all about his connection to the group, so you would think that would make him loyal to the group, right? Well, after all, there are 3 basic rules when it comes to groups like that. 1, know your role and do your job. 2, look after the group because it's like a family. 3, don't betray the group. There is nothing, nothing worse than a snitch in a group like the Trey 9. And if you've seen anything like NCIS, CSI, Law & Order, where such groups are the focus, you'll see that a lot of snitches don't end up in a good place by the time the episode is over. Hence the phrase that is taken on worldwide, snitches get stitches. Because the snitch is an unforgivable sin in that world, and yeah, 6ix9ine just broke that rule. Not only did he break the rule, he also broke it twofold. He broke the rule when it came to help testifying against the group that got arrested with him, and the very same people who once 6ix9ine called his own little crew and friends until they weren't, and 6ix9ine fired them only weeks before the arrest. Plus, when he confessed to the various accounts put against him, he mentioned he did some of these things on the orders of members of Trey 9, and by the word of his plea deal, he has to help put these guys away for now with their own crimes, should he know all about them. This means not only did he snitch on his former former friends, but to the crew that he swore he was a part of and confessed in court that he was indeed one of them, all because he wanted to get a lesser prison sentence. And given the severity of the charges, there's no doubt he's still getting massive jail time, so you almost have to wonder if he just cracked under the pressure of the potential facing of life in prison versus the possibility of getting out one day. Not to mention, all the time of this video, none of the other members have gotten or accepted a plea deal, so they didn't snitch on the other, but 6ix9ine did. And that's gonna cost him dearly both in prison and out, should he ever get out anyway. In that world, being a snitch is a mark you have to carry wherever you go, and no matter what you say or try to explain, the mark of a snitch is one that will never be taken away. So his life, in that sense, is over in numerous ways. Many rappers have already dismissed 6ix9ine's tough guy persona as an act, but being a snitch has taken their dislike of him to a whole nother level, and he's got no one to blame but himself. Number 2, dangers all around him.
You and your daughter are at risk?
In a sense, yeah. Absolutely.
There are 2 main reasons why 6ix9ine took the plea deal. One, he wanted to at least attempt to get a lesser sentence, even if he didn't get the life sentence charge before the plea deal was made. He could have spent a maximum of 47 years in prison for the charges against him, 2 of which carried life sentence penalties if enforced. So there's no doubt that that part of the deal, if he cooperated, was going to get some years knocked off that sentence, or possibly just get the 47 with a chance of parole and no life sentence. The other main reason, as noted, is that he didn't feel safe in the general population section that he was put into. And while he sleeps in the non-violent wing, he's not there all the time. He's surrounded by both enemies of his group and people who just plain don't like him. So another likely stipulation of this deal is probably going to be transferring him to a place that won't have a certain group or members that'll try to maybe harm him. Ironically, this is rather a smart play, as it would protect him in the long run and ensure that he gets the protection he needs for however long he'll be in prison, and that he's currently in anyway. Remember, the deal hasn't been fully enacted yet because 6ix9ine has a part to play. So because of this, he'll actually go and stay in prison where he is right now until sentencing in his official hearing. So, which, by the way, is next January in 2020. Oh man. The FBI won't want to lose their information source to help take down the other criminals and ones on the streets, so they'll protect them the best they can. After all, groups like this have a lot of pull, and they'll try to use that pull to try and get at 6ix9ine if they feel he can be a big enough threat to them. And based on the plea deal, it sounds like he can, and they're gonna try and get to him. But even if they don't in the current prison, they're going to try and get him wherever he goes. Regardless, it's going to be a minimum or maximum security prison. Even if that group isn't there in particular, they could pull favors to get someone from another group to deal with him. It's all a matter of resources, and you'd be surprised how many resources there are out there. And let's just say he gets out in 20 years, which would be a miracle, but 6ix9ine has a way of weaseling out of things for his benefit. And yeah, and if the group is still around, they're going to remember what he did, and if there's a way to enact vengeance against them, they will. These groups tend to be vindictive when allowed to fester. So while it's true that 6ix9ine may have gotten a deal that saved his life in the short time and long term, really doesn't mean it's going to be a foolproof plan. There's bound to be a target on his back. Number 1, alone.
In October, he was sentenced to 4 years probation for using a child in a sexual performance. At the time of the incident,
there's no doubt that there's a lot of questions going through 6ix9ine's mind as he thinks about the life ahead of him. But one thing that must be made painfully clear is that outside of a few loyal people, he's alone. Like completely and utterly alone. You might be thinking, well, it's a grim thing to say. You can make friends in prison. It's happened before. And no doubt, you're not wrong on that. But still, you have to remember that 6ix9ine is now a snitch. And the most important thing in the prison system is trust, especially between inmates. Sure, they may talk to him, but they likely won't do anything with him that's personal because they'll be afraid that he'll use that to his advantage to get them in trouble in order to get a smaller sentence. Plus, while he's in jail, the rest of the world is moving on without him. His music, his works, his money, you can't do anything with him from jail. So while there's little doubt he'll get some publicity from jail as he can be interviewed with a special permission, the world will eventually stop caring about his story and look for something more interesting. Sure, he's got a girlfriend right now, but he can only see her in fits and spurts, and something tells me she won't stay loyal forever. Am I wrong? Yeah. His fans might write to him at first, but they'll slowly fade out, and any loyal friends with the rap industry will no doubt move on and focus on their own careers instead of his well-being. So what does he have left? A prison full of people who can't trust him because he's a snitch? Yeah. Even if he moved on to another prison, the word would get out about what he did. That'll cost him possibly his life, and he's gonna be full of struggles and hardships from now on, and he'll have no one to blame but himself, and no one to talk to about it but himself and maybe a few other people. So there you have it, the consequences of 6ix9ine taking the plea deal. So do you think that the deal was worth it, or do you think that it costed 6ix9ine too much? Also, what do you think were the exact rewards for the deal? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Hey, just a reminder that we're changing up the giveaways. From now on, we're offering the Galaxy Note 9, the one that comes with the exclusive Fortnite skin, the new iPhone X Max, which we'll pre-order for you, and the new Apple Watch Series Series 4, which we'll also pre-order for you. The winner gets to decide between these three. Make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, drop a like, and comment the hidden message in the video for a chance to win. You got nothing to lose. Go for it.